Welcome to the video. My name's Nat, and if you're new to the channel here, I make lots of different videos exploring and playing with art materials and mediums after a lifelong career being online behind a computer screen. And so I'm in my creative recovery era, I call it, and I'm just playing and having fun, and I invite you all to join me and create with me throughout my videos. So I hope you'll grab your favorite medium and get started tonight. Today we're going to be playing with encaustic wax painting. So whether you're winding down at the end of the day, just looking to relax, or you actually want to get into some art tonight or today, I hope you'll join me. Let's get started. Okay, well, this will be my second time doing encaustic. I think it was last week. My first encaustic piece is this. I had a lot of fun. I didn't know what I was doing, and I kind of still don't, but I thought it would be fun to go down and do a deep dive of just exploring and playing and, you know, sharing a quiet, long video doing encaustic. I recently made some tissue paper art, and I also did some jelly printing, so I might combine these in the encaustic to see how that turns out. But yeah, this is meant to be not really a how-to video, but just a create with me kind of video. And I thought it'd be fun to kind of do these little tiny wood circles that I've had. I bought these to paint on with the acrylic paint pen a long time ago, and I just never used them. But since I'm still really new at encaustic, I'm hesitant to use my blocks. Like I bought, I thrifted some of these blocks, like this one I got prepped already to do encaustic on, but after I did that I was like, you know, I don't really know what I'm doing, so let's just play on these and see what we can make. I'm going to use this one for our just basic encaustic medium. My initial kit that I got from RF came with the bag, this bag of encaustic medium, and this bag of soy wax, which is what you use to clean your brushes. It also came with 5 colors, this white, red, yellow, blue, and green. Not a huge fan of some of these colors, but I did try to mix up some colors, which you can see here. I did yellow, and then I tried to work on a teal, which didn't work out so well, but that's okay. It's all a learning experience. So today we're just going to play with what you have. The kit did not come with black, so I did order a black separately. Which I think would be fun to play with today because I didn't have that last time. I did play, you know, my first time, and I recorded that video, but I didn't post it yet. It started out all right, but the audio, I turned the air on. It got really hot in here, and I turned the air on without thinking about it, and the audio just kind of went downhill from there, so I haven't wanted to mess with that too much. So once our medium totally melts here, which takes longer in a tuna can than it does in a flat loaf pan, we will get started. This is needed to paint onto the surface and get it ready for the rest of the layers. But we're going to have to wait for that to do its thing. I figured while we wait for that to melt, I will just kind of play around with some ideas. I'm thinking of doing some layering in here. Again, I want to play. I want to explore the idea of putting tissue paper on the circle. So I might do something like that. So I hope during this video you will feel comfortable to just relax or create with me. It's going to be fun, but it almost might just be a time to chill. So I think once I get the wax layer on there, I could use this. I think I needed this just a little bit smaller than the circle, so and it's not quite the right shape, but that's okay. So this is still melting. kind of wish I would have gotten into encaustic when it is winter. Because then this little pancake skillet wouldn't bother me, you know? I would be warming up by it. But here's a blob of orange that I got from doing something last week, and I'm going to use that. I'm not necessarily going to use the circle, but I just wanted to make sure I got what I could use out of it. And then I was also thinking of maybe one of these leaves. Okay. Alright, I think I got enough to play with for a little bit here. Just gotta wait for that to melt. Alright, let's see here. Some pottery tools. Maybe stir this up a little bit. So right now this is just the encaustic medium that was already pre-mixed. For this I did purchase a beginner encaustic kit from R&F, and now a little bit into this I think that I would have, knowing what I know now, I probably would have bought the medium separate and then mixed my own medium with just a little bit of research. And then for colors, I may have gone the route of pigments. I feel like for a budget-minded person like me, I would have gotten more for my buck. But you know, you don't know those things until you know them. So I think that's a good place to start. I can work with that. And then I'm going to put a swoosh of a medium on this circle here. Okay, and then I did forget I needed to get my heat gun out. Okay, so what we're going to do is reactivate this wax, and then put the tissue paper on top of it. what the heat gun does, oops, is gets the wax all kind of evened out. I don't know what's happening here. I think I bent over some of the tissue paper. It's okay. All right. Thinking something like maybe something like that. So I'm going to put more wax on top of this. And then I'm going to heat gun it again. Okay, that's fused. So yeah, I'm a total beginner at this, and I don't have all of the recommended tools. I know there's pottery tools are recommended, and also clothespins to move the containers around. And then I'm finding that I really want more of the loaf pans because they do heat better than the tuna cans. I'm not sure I can get this piece out. That might be too far gone. Alright, that works. I don't really know all the things you can do, but I'm learning by doing. You know, I don't want to make somebody else's art. I wanted to make my own art, so I struggle with watching other people's videos. Like I've talked about in my You Don't Need Another Art Tutorial video. I'll link that here if you haven't seen it. So almost as quickly as I stop putting heat on, it dries, you know, but the heat takes away the streaks in the brush work, and kind of levels everything out. It's supposed to anyways. I did this on jelly print the other week. It's basically just a really quick jelly print process. And I'm just tearing some of that on here to put the color I want in this piece. So I still haven't quite figured out how to not have the wax be like wavy. I don't know if it's a thing I'm doing wrong or if it's just practice with the heat gun. Like there's a big divot right here, and there's a lot more wax around the edge. Also, this isn't like drying as fast as I would want it to over here. But we're just going to give it a second. We'll work on this one next while that one's doing its thing. and I can see where my mat is getting hot, so I need to put something there that keeps that from happening. Also, I remembered that you're supposed to heat the surface up before you put any wax on it, so I'm going to do that. And I didn't do that on that one. It takes the wax better, so we're just going to go with that recommendation. Okay, that is a little bit more level looking, less bubbly. Let me bring it up here so you can kind of see. So that's a little bit more level looking, which I think heating up the wood really helped that. So that's nice. And then if this was a bigger surface, I would tape the edges so that the wax wasn't dripping down like I did on this one, which I haven't done yet. I've taped off the edges so when the wax drips, it won't go on the edge. I'm telling you what, you guys, this is a funny little medium to do without air conditioning, because it's I'm melting. I also feel like I'm scraping off the wax, but also getting out any, I don't know. I probably shouldn't be doing that, but that's what I'm doing. Yeah, I'm gonna let that melt again and then leave it. Move this one over. And grab this one. Some white on here. I might have ruined the leaves on this one, so that's why I'm trying to work in a way to kind of get that white off of the line work. And I stuck it over here on this one. But it's exploring, it's playing, it's figuring things out. Alright, for these two, this is where we're at so far. We have this little hand-drawn ferny looking thing, and then my jelly print of the oak leaf with the bronze paint pen and some white encaustic paint on top. So we're going to keep playing and seeing where that goes. I haven't messed with the black at all. These guys are in process. I'm going to move them off to the side and start working on some other ones. The fun thing about this, I think, is first of all, it's just a fun texture to feel and play with. But also, I love the abstractness of it. Like, I don't have to have a picture in mind, you know, just shapes and colors come to mind, but I can play, you know, and it feels fun. I think it's because it's so different, you know. I think on this one, I'm going to just like draw and see what I can do. Heat up the surface first. And then I'm going to use the black and if you followed me a little while, you might have an idea of what I'm drawing here. I didn't prime it with a piece of, I didn't prime it with a layer of wax, so I don't know how this is going to work, but we're going to keep going with it and see what happens. Oh. I know I screwed that up a bit. Maybe not. Maybe it'll be fun. Who knows? Maybe it'll be fine. So I basically took all the wax off of that one because I got it too hot. So that's not going to work. Go back over there, little cat. I'll figure you out later. Let's do it the right way, shall we? I get excited sometimes and I just move forward and forget my steps. Does that ever happen to you? Let's get a layer on here. Found out if I do it quick enough, then it has the best chance of being even and level. And I was thinking, since I did make these colors, maybe I'll use some of them. Here's an idea. Alright, so this is one of the first colors I ever made, was this orange. I don't want to go too long because I realize that I'll push the wax off the wood, so I don't want to do that. So we're going to let that harden up. We're getting some rain. That'll be a nice sound. Relaxing. So I know that they don't recommend you putting your paint pen directly on the wax, and so I want to put some bronze in here, but I don't want to draw directly on the wax, and so I'm going to draw some bronze elements on some tissue paper, and then I'm going to tear the tissue paper and put it in the wax. So let's just draw some lines and see how that goes. I'd be interested to know in the comments if you've ever tried encaustic, or if you're thinking about trying it. I don't know how much that'll be on the actual paper, but we're going to let the acrylic dry for a second before we put it over here. I think I'm going to get one of these other colors that I made. I wasn't real thrilled with any of the colors I made. I still have to learn that better. Might do this tealy, greeny color. Let's see. I'm going to cut off this chunk of bronze because I don't want it. Kind of made a blob. Which I might use later, but not right now. So let's heat that up before we stick that down. Just going to get some more wax on there so I have something to work with. When the encaustic dries, it looks real cloudy. You know, you can't see through as clearly as you would want to. But after it cures for a while, you can buff it, and then you can kind of have a more translucent visual that you can see through. So this is going to be less transparent as I work with it, but once it's cured, then I can buff it, and then we'll be able to see through it a little bit better and have the details pop out. I don't know what is on my tissue paper up here, but it's kind of a blob. Oh, it's a blob of black. Let's get that off. Not a big shock since I have black paint right below where I'm working here. There's one thing that is nice about it being wax is you can kind of go back over it. Nice. I thought some really thin strips of this teal would be pretty. Something like that. I like that I'm haha. I like the torn edges, but I also like to be able to get those super skinny pieces. So I'm kind of doing a combination of using a torn edge and a scissored edge. And I'm not melting these onto there yet or fusing them. I'm just kind of seeing the composition about where I want them. And maybe just kind of going with my feelings on this, which is always my favorite way to do it. I'll do something like that. So I'll lift this over here. All the way. Right in here. Alright, so this is going to go out there. This one's going to go out there. It doesn't have to be perfect. Just want to kind of get an idea. I'm going to heat that up again without blowing these guys away. Haha. Put a little weight on them. I'm not going to get it on before it's dry, but it will help a little bit. Okay. Go this way. I need to get some more medium out and melt it. Alright, I'm doing it, I'm doing it. If you want to contribute to the medium fund, I have a small membership. I think it's $5 a month. It should be $5 a month. And I do behind the scenes content on there, on the YouTube channel here, which helps support the videos, it helps support the videos and the making of the videos, and helps me get more art supplies. So, which I love making these videos anyways. That's what it looks like before I'm heating it. I'm liking this. I like this one. I'm liking this process. It reminds me of my cat cards a little bit. Okay, we're going to heat that up. I did that to fuse the layers together. Not quite cooled off yet, but that's kind of what that looks like right now. I'm thinking once that's cool, I can cut these off and they'll, the circle shape will be revealed. But I need more layers on there of wax. So once this wax melts, once that wax melts right there, then I'll have more medium to coat this with. So these were totally cooled off. I let them sit overnight. I went around with the bronze paint pen and went over some of the lines that got muddied up. And also on this one, I am going to cover this black spot, which I don't really love, with this tissue paper, which will turn a little darker there, but that's okay. And then I also did the bronze paint pen. When they talked about the process, they said that you can't paint acrylic on here. It's not compatible. So I'm just doing minimal lines here with the paint pen. I'm not doing a large area, so I'm kind of experimenting and seeing how that works, if that actually works, because I really like the accents without getting like metallic pigment, which I'm gonna get, but I want to see how this works. And then I also was thinking about scraping this one off and then seeing if I can reuse it. I think it's probably good. These are really cheap little things, so it doesn't really matter. But if I could get, you know, most of that off so you don't even really see an image. Thought it'd be fun to like try a different image with the colors, because I had such fun like making these paintings with colors and just like melting them. So I was thinking I could try something like that on the actual encaustic, technique. In this case, I'm just using the encaustic block and rubbing it on the wood. And then I'll take my heat gun and heat it up. See what that's like. So I'm going to put a new layer of clear, just medium on these, and then I'm going to set this on here. And then we'll heat gun that. So clear medium on these three, put this tissue paper on here, and then I'm going to heat gun that with some clear medium over it. Not really sure. Let's see how I do it. I'm not sure. I'll figure it out. cool. I don't hate that. All right, so let's look at these now. This is the one I did with the Neo Color 2 crayon. I really like that one. I love this one. And they're all interesting. Like, that's cool. I didn't know what to expect with that one. And then this one's really cool too. I think I might put some orange on this one. Let's look at them separately. So this is the Neocolor crayon. This is tissue paper and a little orange wax and a little Posca paint pen. This is the jelly print leaf with Posca paint pen and orange wax. This one is a hand-drawn botanical on tissue paper with a jelly print tissue paper, Posca paint pen, and orange wax. I feel like I rescued that one because it was not turning out very well. And this one was the cat drawing that I didn't like at all. So yeah, I feel like I like these. What do you think? Oh, too much. Alright, let's see about that. wax on here. Melt that, and then I'll move on to another little design here. Alright, so you probably hear the gun like powering down and then powering up again, and that's because I have to get a new breaker. The power is being regulated. So that's what we're looking at right now, with 4 of them pretty much layered and waxed. Once this cures, then we can go through a buffing rag and polish them up so they have a little bit of a more see-through look. But yeah, I think they're pretty cool. I like them. So if you've been enjoying the video this long, we do have another hour going on. We're going to continue with our encaustic play and exploration with this medium that I'm just falling in love with. I do wish that it was winter because I would be a lot cooler in here making hot wax paintings. But yeah, thanks so much for watching. If you haven't subscribed, I hope you'll do so. And I appreciate you all. And let's get into the next hour of encaustic wax play and exploration. Okay, I've come back from a little bit of a break, and I'm reheating the skillet right now. And these are the 4 encaustics that we left to kind of cure. And this one I just polished, so you can kind of see it has a little bit of a shine to it, and then the details are more visible. So I'm going to polish the rest of these and see what they do. So this is this one before it's polished. And there it is after. This one before. After. And then this one is before. After. You can kind of see the texture on that one too. I like that. So here's all of them after they're buffed. Yeah, I think that looks good, better. This one I need to work on. It's the tissue paper is like not adhering over here, so I need to melt that again. But I think that's good for now. I'm going to work on some other ones here. I think this side's better. So the first thing I'll do is heat that wood up. And then I think I'm gonna use some of the creek flowy water that I do on my cat cards. The crayons are water soluble, so if they get any kind of fluid on them, they blend, which I'm not mad about. And then I'm gonna start making this one at the same time, which I think I'm gonna put this art on. Yeah, I'll heat that one up too. All right. If you're still watching, I thank you. I am trying out this new idea of doing longer, calmer videos. I'm going to keep doing my other videos too, so these are just an addition to that. But I also, you know, I thought it'd be fun to relax with a longer video. And what's the other thing? Oh, so yeah, if you're still watching, I'd love it if you subscribed, and of course, you know, if you hit the bell, then you'll get notifications when I have new videos out. Also when I go live, which is Sundays at 1 p.m. Eastern, and then Wednesdays at 5 p.m. Eastern for now. So I'm trying that out, that time slot out, seeing how it works for me, and yeah. I like this because I can do a bunch of different things. You know, I can use my print making from the jelly print, and I can also do my lino cut on here. I can do hand-drawn, you know, things on tissue paper. But yeah, I have a lot of choices, so I like having that. I like to work with different mediums, so when I can incorporate them into something new, that gets my dopamine going. I think I'm gonna stamp on this paper. I'm gonna do the create word, and then I can find it, and then I think I'm gonna do these little flower, little leaves that I made. So I'm going to do a create word and these little guys. Yay, that worked. And then the create word, I'm gonna try using my little stamp pad for that too. No, sorry, the little floral things. It's gonna rain, guys. Rain again. It's been a rainy day here. Let me get some other color tissue paper. Right. Little tissue paper blop I put somewhere. Let me cut it out. I think I'm going to layer the tissue paper on top of itself, so I'm going to cut another piece out. Alright, so let's see, something like that. I'm going to put some orange on here first. Okay, I get a little heavy-handed with the heat gun. I don't know if you can see that, but it blew it away here. But that's just going to come with practice, I think, you know. And that's what I'm doing. This isn't really a tutorial as much as just me experimenting and playing with this whole thing. Well, I cannot wait till I get that power thing fixed, because I'm counting on it blowing out a certain way, and then it blows out a totally different way. I also smeared a lot of my black. It's okay. We will get there. Practice, right? I think I might have blown away my other little word. It's over here. Yeah. Got to get a little more medium melted up. Okay. Well, I need to get more wax over here on this one. And you can see kind of the cool little pits that are happening, which I might leave. So I think that's part of the coolness of encaustic. Plus, you know, the way that I know how to do things, I'm just learning and figuring it out. So I'm digging these. I think that these would be cool magnets, you know, to have blue magnets on the back, and then I can have a set of encaustic magnets. Okay, I think I'm going to put a stamp on this one. I really like the stamp thing. That's fun. So I have a kitty cat, a cat face. I don't want to do that. I have this water that I like. And then this, or the create. Kind of thinking this one. I already did that, so I could use this one. I'm just going to go ahead and stamp it again since I have it in the ink pad. Oh, that one turned out really good. Yeah, there's that one. Something like that. So from the video, I don't remember if I fuse it before I put wax on top or if I fuse it after I put wax on top. Oops. So I'm trying it after I put wax on top. I think on that one I tried before. I can always go back and watch the video, but right now I'm doing this, so I'm not going to do that. I just love how the tissue paper becomes so translucent. so it's like you're stamping directly on the wood, which is pretty cool. I like that. I want to put some gold on here, not gold, bronze on here, but I have to make, those on the tissue paper, which work better than if I draw directly on the paint. Okay. Let that dry for a second. I just did some dots on some tissue paper. I'm going to take this big dot off because it's kind of a blob. And we will see if we can tear these in half without ruining them. Should have waited for that to dry, but I didn't. I will do that now. Patience, right? So you have to tell me what your favorites are. I have 1, 2, 3. I have 6 that will be done from this video. While this is, while I have that in mind, I'm going to do a couple more and put them on these other ones. I'm going to let those dry better. Crows are busy today. Okay, let's see here. Something like that, and something like that. And these guys. Something like that. I'll let those dry. But I'm going to add, so I'm adding little copper accents on this one, and this one. That one's really wet still, so we're going to do that one last. This one looks like it's dry, so we're going to start with this one right here. This one. Okay, that one's fused, and we'll go over it in a minute. But this blows out so hard when it kicks in, which I'm not thrilled about that. Okay, that one's fused. And then we'll move on to this one here. Okay, all three of them are fused. Now I can go in here and put another layer of wax on top and then let that cure, and I think that'll be good. Alright, so I'm getting some of the medium on this brush. I'm just going over this whole disc, the new glop of wax. Okay. Those guys are going to need curing before I can buff them. But let's fuse all that and then kind of make the... What I'm going to do now is make the brush texture smooth. But you can always leave it for added effect if you wanted. Okay, I think that's going to be good for that. We're going to let those cure. You can kind of see how cloudy they are right when you're finishing them. But once they are nice and cured, I can buff them like I did this one, and this one, and the other one. So yeah, we'll have 6, kind of making a little set. I think there's going to be magnets. So I do have magnets I could glue on them. But yeah, thanks for joining me tonight or today. and I hope that you had a relaxing time and maybe are encouraged to play with encaustic.